Can you tell us the background about who owns the Shroud of Turin?
Yes, there's a certain antipathy towards the Shroud amongst Christians who are not Roman Catholics, because there's a feeling that it's very much a Roman Catholic artifact and that Roman Catholics cling to it. But in fact, it should be remembered that for almost its entire history, it was the personal property of some particular person who may have been a Roman Catholic, but who wasn't a representative of the Catholic Church. And most recently, the individual who owned it was the King of Italy. And the kings of Italy were forced to abdicate in, I think, the 1940s, I could be wrong, whereupon the Shroud remained in the cathedral in Turin. However, as part of the abdication, according to the Italian government, the King of Italy ceded to the Italian state all his property in Italy, which included, as far as the Italian state is concerned, the Shroud of Turin. So when 12 or so years ago, the last remaining descendant of the Italian monarchy died, and he left the Shroud in his will specifically to the reigning Pope and his successors. There's certainly considerable dispute about that amongst the Italian state, who think that it was never his to give away because they had taken possession of it when the king abdicated. And the matter was brought to a bit of a head about 10 years ago when a question was asked in the Italian Parliament for the Italian Parliament to make a definitive pronouncement as to who the Shroud of Turin actually belonged to. But because it was close to the end of the day and it was close to the end of that particular session, the matter was never discussed, and so a definitive pronouncement was not made. But I would think that there is certainly a fairly strong Italian state idea that it belongs to them, it doesn't belong to the church at all, or the Pope. However, at the moment it's kept, it's looked after certainly by the church, even though the chapel in which it used to be kept before the chapel burnt down was not part of the cathedral. It was attached to the back of it, but it was royal property. It was part of the king's own palace, the royal chapel, and now it belongs to the Italian state and not to the church.